Right, okay, so before I start the circle and whatever, that's the next chapter we're doing, and the 2 questions for today. Right, okay, the hypothesis test, right, okay. When you do a survey, you get a proportion, as in 60 out of 80 people liked it or whatever, okay? Or you get a mean, right, okay, the mean number of, the mean age of the people at the party, right, okay, or something like that. Okay, when you're doing a hypothesis test for the proportion, right, there's only one formula. It's so the true proportion, as in the population proportion, is you do plus or minus 1.96 p times the square root of p times 1 minus p all over n. Okay, that's that formula. That bit of the formula is in the log tables. Okay, I hope I have it right. Have I it right? Yeah. Okay, so it's p hat, whatever the to set up your confidence interval, it's p hat, whatever the survey said, plus or minus that. That's the only formula you can use for a hypothesis test for a proportion. Right? There's no other option for proportion. Okay, that's the only formula. Okay, right, for the mean, right, okay, you have 3 choices, right? Okay, so if you're doing a hypothesis test for the mean, you have 3 choices. So the one I always use, right, I don't know why, but the one I always use is what the survey says. So the real mean is what the survey says plus or minus 1.96 times, sigma all over the square root of n, is it? Yeah, is that alright? Okay, right, so you set up your confidence interval that way, right? Or you take whatever the survey says and you take your whatever the survey says and you turn it into a z-score using the z-score formula, right? Okay, x minus mu all over sigma all over the square root of n, because you'll have done a survey and you'll have n, right? Okay, is that right? So you use that formula to turn it into a z-score, and the z-score has to be between minus 1.96 and it has to be in the interval minus 1.96 and plus 1.96 to accept it, alright, or fail to reject it. Is that right? Okay, that's the formula. Or you can turn it into a p-value, right, and there's a formula for the p-value. I'm not even going to talk about the formula for the p-value, because you only ever do p-value if they ask you to do p-value. Because for p-value you need z-score first. So why the hell would you go and do p-value if you can just do it with the z-score? Okay, is that alright? So there is 3 ways to test a hypothesis, to set up an interval, right, for your means. There's 1 way for proportion. Okay, right? So I got mixtures of this formula and this formula, and yeah, I just got means and proportions and means, and I was like, okay, so is that clear? Right, okay, there's only, if it's a proportion, so if the survey is a proportion, there's only 1 way to do it, right, to set up your confidence interval and check out, is your hypothesis, can you reject it or accept it or whatever, right? If it's a mean, right, you can use this formula, right, you can use z-score and it has to be between minus 1.96 and 1.96, right, or you can turn it into a p-value, which you wouldn't do because p-value you need the z-score first, right, is that okay? Right, okay, so I just wanted to point that out. So will you go and look at your long questions and look at the hypothesis test and have a look at what formulas you used, right, and fix it before I get to correct it. Okay, so I'll leave that with you for homework, okay, because I'm not correcting, I won't get to long questions today or tomorrow, right? But I want you to go look at your long questions, even if you didn't do them, even if you did the other one, right, or you didn't do it. I want you to look and I want you to fix it before I get there, right? Fix it with the right formula, okay? Is that right? Okay, right. The next thing I want to do is I'm correcting two questions. take out my glasses when so I'm correcting 2 questions before I'm starting the circle. Right, okay. The circle is a lovely short chapter. For some reason students don't like the circle, but I like it. I like the circle. Right, okay, but anyway, it's quite short. Okay, so we should be done the circle in a week, as in this day next week we should be wrapped up in the circle. Right, okay, is that right? Okay, so the first thing is, right, I'm going to do this on the board if that's alright, because you can see it better than with the pen on the boxes. Right, how many different teams of 15 players can be chosen from a panel of 20 if the captain must be included? So you have 20 players, you're taking the captain out of it and saying you're on the team. There's only 19 players left and there's only 14 spaces left. Okay, so it's 19, choose 14. Is that alright? Okay, I'll just get the answer and the marking scheme for this up. I had it open, so. Oh, come on. Wait. I had open. Where did I think? Christmas test. No, that's not it. No. Right, okay, yeah. Okay, when you work that out, it's 11,628, 11,628, and there's 5 marks for it. Okay, right, and the second one is 2 players refuse to play on the team. Right, the only way you can work that out is if you put the 2 players on the team and take it away from all the possibilities. Okay, so you can't work out the 2, you know, 1 player on, 1 player off. You can't work that out, but you can work the 2 of them on together. Right, so if I put them on together, I'm taking those 2 players and I'm putting them on the team. How many spaces are left? 18 to choose what? 13, right? And the total options are 20, choose 15, is it? Right? So total options, take away the 2 of them definitely being on, will give you all the ones where they're not on together, only one of them's on. Right? Or none of them could be on. And the answer to that is 6936. And there was 5 marks for that. Okay? A and B are 2 events, right, such that probability of A is that, probability of B is that, probability of A union B is that. I think we need a Venn diagram here. Okay? So you need a Venn diagram. Okay? You need the condition A given B, so probability of A given B is equal to the probability of A intersection B all over the probability of B. That formula is not in the log tables, okay? You're supposed to know it. Okay, so you need A intersection B. They don't give you A intersection B, right? Okay, so what they do is, so let's do our Venn diagram and see what they tell us. A, B on the outside. Okay, so they tell me A on its own is 0.35, right? B, the probability B is 0.46, right? The probability of A union B is 0.61, right? So when you add those up, you get 0.81. So how much too much have you? It's only supposed to be 0.61. So how much too much have you? 0.2, so there must be 0.2 on the overlap. Okay, So that leaves 0.15 for A, so it adds up to 0.35. And 0.2, it's 0.26 for B. And you can work out what's on the outside if you want, but you don't need it because you just need to fill out the formula. So A intersection B is 0.2 and the probability of B is 0.46. And into the calculator with that, right, and the answer is 10 over 23, okay? Or if you give it as a decimal, that would be fine too. And it was 5 marks for that. Okay, is that alright? Okay, next one, now, right, this is Bernoulli trials, okay? And when you know what's happening in each position, you have to do it out position by position, right? Right, when you don't know what's happening in each position, as in you want 5 baskets out of the first 10, you don't care where they are, that's when you use the formula. But in part A, C part 1, is it C part 1? We know the position, right? He's going taking 12 penalties, right? So we want him to score the first, then we want him to score the second, then we want him to not score, not score, not score, not score, not score 10 times, right? Okay, I'll just go by 10. Agreed? So you want him to score first, score second, then miss for the rest of the time. So score first, his probability of scoring is 3/5, right? Score second and score second is multiplied by 3/5, agreed? And then you want him to miss 10 times, don't you? So instead of writing multiply by 2/5 10 times, what would I write? Multiply by 2/5 to the power of 10. Okay? Is that alright? So when you know the position, girls, you have to do it. There's no formula. This is how you do it. Okay? So we know the position. We know what was happening in number 1 penalty. We know what's happening in number 2 penalty. We know what's happening in number 7 penalty. You know what's happening in every single position, so you have to do it out like this. One position at a time. And when you multiply all that out, and does it say rounded up? They don't. Oh, they do 4 significant figures. Girls, keep an eye on that as well. There's a lot of people rounding too soon. Right, okay? So if you round too soon, now not in this case, but further on, if you round too soon, you end up with an off answer. Okay, so you lose a mark for rounding too soon. Okay, so watch the rounding. If they say 4 significant figures, you go to 6 significant figures all the way down and then you round at the very end. Right? It's not relevant here, but you know, further on it will be, where people rounded way too soon. Okay? Now, see, part 2. Now, we do not know position here. Right? Okay? We don't know what's happening in every position. The only position is, we know he's going to score his 6th penalty on his last attempt. So he's still going to take 12 penalties. So on position, from penalty number 1 to 11, we don't care what position, you want him to score 5 times. So score 5 scores. Right? Okay? Agreed? And in position number 12, you want him to get his last penalty. So you know what's happening in position number 12. So you treat that separately. Okay? But 5 out of 11, that's Bernoulli trial, isn't it? Right? It's a Bernoulli trial, and choose our success, failure, all that. So out of the 11 penalties, we want him to be successful 5 times. Right? So, and then the probability of success is 3/5. We want him to be successful to the power of 5. And then 2/5 is his chance of failing. And we want him to fail to 6 times. Okay? And means we multiply. We want him to score here. His scoring is, chance of scoring is 3/5. Okay? So that's a Bernoulli trial. Right? And I'm telling you here and now, there'll be one of those in your leaves. Right? I'm not psychic. There's one on every year. Okay? Right? And there'll be one in your pre, probably. Right? Okay? I haven't seen pre's yet, but I'd be disappointed with the pre-company if they didn't put one on, because they're on the lean search every year. Right, 5 marks for that, rounded to 3 decimal places, 0.088. Again, some people a bit dodge with the rounding, so be careful. Right, It's a shame to have all the hard work done and lose a mark because you rounded wrong. Okay, would you agree? Shameful. Right, are we okay with that? Right, okay. The next one I personally thought, no, the wording in one of it was a bit weird, right? But the first few bits were I thought were easy, right? Okay, were we able to fill out part A, part 1? A part 1? All the probabilities add up to what? 1. So you do 1, take away 0.1 plus 0.3 plus 0.4, sorry, plus 0.4. And you end up that the intersection bit is 0.2, is it? 0.2 again, just happens to be the same as the previous one. Right, is that alright? Okay.
What if it, like, isn't the intersection formula PA by P? Oh.
No.
Oh. What is the intersection formula?
There is no intersection formula, all 4 sections, you know. It's probability, so all the possibilities are here. So all the probabilities add up to 1. So there's a 0.4 on the outside, there's a 0.1 here, and there's a 0.3 here, so there's no formula here. It's just all the probabilities, 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. They all add up to 1, all the possibilities. So you could land in, on the outside, you could land in here, you could land in here, you could land in here, and you add up all the possibilities, they add to 1. So when you subtract what you know from 1, you end up with 0.2 there in the middle. Is that right? Now, yeah, the next thing is a bit, no it's not, it's explain it right, okay. So verify that the probability of A union B, so A union B is equal to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A intersection B. Okay? So that's just a case of union B, add them all up, that's 0.6, is it?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Probability of B, 0.5, A, sorry, is 0.3. Probability of B is 0.5 minus the probability of both minus 0.2, and you get 0.6 equals 0.6. Please finish it out and write that down. Okay, right, okay. And hence what it tells us about A and B. Right, first thing is, right, okay, A and B, there's an intersection, so what does that mean? A and B can happen at the same time, can't they? Because there's an intersection. You have a 0.2 chance of them both happening at the same time. So what's the story with things happening at the same time? What's that called? Mutually exclusive. So they can't happen at the same time. So that means they are not mutually exclusive. Okay, so that's the conclusion, right? If there was no intersection, they would be mutually exclusive. So not mutually exclusive. So they're the words they're looking for there. Is that okay? Right. Okay. The next one now. Right. The next one, I think nearly everyone got it right. Me, it's a head wreck right now to all those things. For me, I would definitely use a tree diagram and ask for extra paper. Right. Okay. Was it a head wreck? Yeah. Right. A tree diagram is the way to go, girls. Right. Okay. So you start. What are we doing? We're doing it. We're tossing a coin 4 times. Okay. So we go head. Actually, no. I need to go head or a tail, and then we throw it again. Head or a tail. Head or a tail, and then we do it again. Head or a tail, head or a tail, head or a tail, head or a tail, And then out of each branch again, we can go head or a tail, 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 head or a tail. I'm losing the will to live. Head or a tail. Okay, so then you read across. Head, 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 head. Head, 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 tail. Head, head, tail, head. Head, head, tail, tail. Head, tail, head, 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 and so on. I'll call them all out. Okay, but to me, a tree diagram is way easier than trying to see did you cover them all, right? And I tried to be very meticulous about correcting them, right? Okay, but it was even a head wreck trying to correct them, okay? But if it was a leave insert, they would go through everything. But I think I did go through every single one, I think, with everyone, right? Okay, so yeah. But a tree diagram, to me, I'd ask for extra paper. And tree diagram, I think, is the way to go, right? 3 is easier, 4 is a head wreck, right? Okay, right, are we okay with that? E is the probability that the first 3 results are head, 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 right? Okay, so let's just talk about E. So E is the probability the first 3 results are head. So E, you want to go head, head, head. So we're not throwing it 4 times, we're just throwing it 3 times. Okay, so we want to get a head, a head, a head, right? So your chance of getting a head first is a half, multiplied by a half, multiplied by a half, right? Okay, and that would be an 8. So probability of 8 is an 8. I didn't give you a marking scheme there, sorry. It's 5 marks for part A, part 1, 5 marks for A, part 2, and for right now, for all those things, you only get 5 marks. Right, okay, and this one is 5 marks as well. So the probability of E, right, is 3 heads in a row, 1 8, right? The probability of F is just one thing. On the 4th thing, what are your chances of getting a head? When you pick the 4th one, what's your chances of getting a head? When you toss the 4th coin, what are your chances of getting a head? Half, right, okay? So I think it's badly worded, right, okay? So they just want the probability, the 4th, right? Find the probability, the 4th result is also a head. So you just want 4th result is a head. So just take it independent of everything, right? Just what are your chances when you flip a coin of getting a head? It's a half. Is that all right? And then it says show that probability of E and F, right? So E and F is a head, 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 3 heads and then another head, which would be 1/16. Wouldn't it be a half by a half by a half by a half, right? Show that that's the same as the probability of E multiplied by the probability of F. So probability of E you worked out to be a half, the probability of F or an 8 you worked out to be a half, and that's 1/16. And you've got the same answer for the 2 of them, so that proves they're independent. Okay, so they're independent events, because that's the formula for independent. Okay, so if the formula holds true, the events are independent, as in the results of one does not affect the result of the other. Okay, is that right? And that is 5 marks. Okay, that's my 2 questions for today. Right, are we okay? Right, next thing I want to do is start the circle. Right, okay? So, stupid question. Do you all know what a circle is? Yeah, great. We're halfway there. Right, okay. So, I need to So it's in the green book, right? Shh. It's in the green book, okay? So I don't know what one you brought today, but anyway, it's in the green book. Shh. So coordinate geometry of the circle. Come on, right? We have less than 10 minutes. Go. Right. Right. You don't need the green book. You need to write. Notes. Coordinate geometry of the circle. Right. You remember we did coordinate geometry of the line, and we talked about slope and equation of the line and midpoint, and there's still going to be lines thrown into this. Okay. So where do people get mixed up in this chapter is they forget, am I trying to get the equation of a circle, or am I trying to get the equation of a line? Because there's different formulas, okay? Right, you see people go find the equation of the circle and they write down the equation of the line formula, okay? All the formulas, bar one, and it's a simple one, are in the log tables, okay? Right, so all the circle formulas are in it, okay? Are we ready? Right, first thing is, right, the equation of a circle with centre 0, 0. Okay, so for the first 5 seconds we're going to be talking about circles with centre 0, 0. Right, okay, so, and radius r is x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So when you're getting the equation of a circle, you need to know its centre and you need to know its radius. Right, okay, so you need to know two things. You know, if you're getting the equation of a line, you needed a slope and a point. Right, if you're getting the equation of a circle, you need a centre and a radius. Okay, and if the centre is 0, 0, this is the formula that's not in the log tables. X squared plus y squared equals r squared. Okay. If I do it like this. So equation of a line with circle, right, okay. Right, example, find the equation of a circle with centre 0, 0 and radius 3. Right, okay, so they all have centre 0, 0, so that means they all have x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So same formula for the two of them. So part 1 is x squared plus y squared equals 3 squared. So I'm presuming I don't need to write that out. And 3 squared equals 9. If you left it as 3 squared, you'd lose marks. Okay. And I'm going to write 1 1/4 as 5/4, top heavy fraction. Right. Okay. So part 2, it would be x squared plus y squared equals 5/4 to be squared, which is x squared plus y squared, square fraction, you square the top and square the bottom. So square 5, you get 25, square the bottom, you get 16. Is that alright? Okay. That says 25/16 there at the end there. Are we okay with that? Easy peasy. Can it be that easy? Probably not. Right, but we have to start with the basics. Right, are we good? Yeah, moving on, because this is just too easy to spend time at. Right, opposite, right, find the length and radius of this circle, right, okay. The first one is easy. What's the centre? 0, 0. And that's supposed to read 0, 0, but when your finger touches off the thing, 0, 0. That says 0, 0. What's the radius? Square root of 8. Right, and if you put that in the calculator, it'd be 2√2, but square root of 8 is fine. Right, okay. Now this one, right, okay, it has to be x squared plus y squared by itself. So what do I need to do with this one to start with? Divide everything by 9. So if you divide everything by 9, okay, the 9s will cancel. and you'll get x squared plus y squared equals 16 over 9. So what's the square root of 16 over 9, please? Square root the top, square root the bottom. Answer 4/3. Is that right? Easy peasy, yeah. Great. Going. Can I go? Yeah? No? Right. Okay. Find the equation of the circle with centre 0, 0 and which contains the point 4 minus 1. What are we to do first? What two things do you need to get the equation of a circle? You need two things. You need the centre and the radius. How will I get the radius? So I know it's a circle, right? I have its centre, right? Okay, so its centre is 0, 0. That's very central. Yeah, brilliant. And we know it goes through the point 4 minus 1. So what will I do? How will I get the radius? What will I do? Yeah, someone said it right. Yeah, get the length. Yeah, exactly. So you have to use the distance formula or the length formula from the log tables. Okay, so you have to do square root of x2 minus x1 to be squared. So you can't forget all your line formulas. Okay, they come into play all the time in this chapter. Okay, so having a quick look over the line chapter tonight would be helpful, right, for everyone. So if I go x1, y1, so I'll go x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'll go 4 minus 0 to be squared plus minus 1 minus 0 to be squared. That's 16. Is that minus 1? Yeah. Square root of 17, would it be? I think it would. Square root of 17. Okay, is that alright? And then the question was find the equation of a circle. So it's x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So x squared plus y squared equals root 17 to be squared. And root 17 to be squared is just what? 17. X squared plus y squared equals 17. Happy? Yeah? Still easy? We're still happy? Yeah? Right, so remember, what two things do you need to find the equation of a circle? Centre and radius, okay? That's in your head, like, because they get really hard, right, really quickly, okay? How am I going? I'm going badly because you're all packing up, okay? So, did anyone have the circle page open? Give me a job. This is the right bookkeeping quiz. So coordinate geometry is 420. Okay, girls, will we do page 422? I actually don't know what's in there, so we'll just do 422, 1 to 6. Okay, so page 422, 1 to 6, okay? And as I say, have a look at your Christmas test, see can you fix those formulas, see if you use the wrong formula and fix it, right? And also have a look back at the line chapter, right? Okay, so you have a lot to do.